It's almost time. It's almost the end of 2012, and who better to summarize what's happened in the world of tech and the business of investment than John Borthwick, the CEO of Betawork. John, welcome back to TechCrunch TV. I don't think you ever went away, did you?
I didn't, but thanks, Andrew.
So, John, very briefly, how has 2012 been for you at Betaworks?
We've had a great year at Betaworks. It's been a busy year, as practically every year has been since we founded Betaworks. We've been building a lot of new things. We made the acquisition of Dig this summer, which is going pretty darn well. Betaworks is, I think, very well suited to be able to do.
You never regretted it? Woke up in the middle of the night thinking, my God, why did they do that?
Not for a second. I think it was an unbelievable opportunity for us to buy a great brand service platform in the social news space. And we'd been working on this thing called News.me for a while. And this was a way to accelerate everything we were doing on News.me and take a team that was a fantastic team into the Dig brand and really get a brand and a company reborn on the internet.
John, you've expanded this building. Every time I come back to the meatpacking district of New York, you seem to control more and more of it. Eventually I'll come back, I think you'll have the whole thing. I assume you're funding some cash to pay for this. Did you cash out anything this year?
So we had, financially we had a good year. We had, we're obviously a private company, we don't disclose financials, but we made money. Of course, you hear that every time, right? But we did pretty well this year.
So you had a good year, John, but did Silicon Valley have a good year? It seems to have been a year. Mark Andreessen earlier this month argued that we're now in a tech depression. Do you think it was a bad year generally for tech?
No, I think it was a good year. I think that it's a good year because it's a sort of maturation, sort of evolutionary, it's turn of the screw, and it's just the next step forward, right? There's a lot of focus now on monetization, which I think is absolutely right. There's a lot of people who are going to run away from consumer tech.
Which is good or bad?
Which I think is good.
The kids get out.
Yeah, I think the market was flooded, and I think that there was a lot of people who had a bit of conviction and sort of showed up about 3 years ago, and now they're running backwards or running away. This is not done, right? It's like this is not baked. This stage and this cycle of innovation has a long way to go.
You mean even in consumer?
Even in consumer, absolutely. And it's been driven by, the big vectors that when we started Betaworks, we believed that the combination of social and the transformation to smartphones and devices would change the way people just fundamentally did everything, right? And so that has happened and some. But I think that even the devices and cell phones, nobody could have 5 years ago could have imagined the impact that tablets would have, right? Tablets was something we talked about for 20 years, but they never really worked.
Well, in terms of 2012 then, what are the salient events? Was it the Facebook IPO? Was it the iPhone 5?
Let's start off on the hardware side, right? Because I think the hardware side kind of like lays the platform. So you've got Apple continuing to put in market an entire suite of products, right? So the Mini is a huge piece of the puzzle. You have on the Android side, you have Amazon and others, Google Nexus tablet, great product coming into market. This Christmas, everybody gets a fucking tablet, right? And so, I think
everybody, even me.
I think maybe even you, Andrew. Maybe there's a Mini in your, or maybe an Android if Kevin Marks says his way. There's in your future, but I think that it is. So the tablet now is as an interface, as a sort of primary, as a computing experience. It's becoming the primary.
And that was a 2012 event. Do you think when
big hardware
tech historians look back, they'll say 2012 was the year that the worm turned, that finally tablets it was the tipping point.
Yeah, I think there's a massive shift there. So then coupled with that is that you have a big shift away from desktop, big shift towards mobile, right? We've seen, our companies that we both build here at Betaworks and we see invest in, we've seen Dig, for example, 40% of traffic is on mobile. So we put out a great iOS product, iPhone and iPad. We're now building out the other platforms, but mobile is just such a fundamental experience.
Do you think that 2012 will be the last year when people even talk about something called mobile and the shift to mobile?
Yeah, I do. I think that also it's going to be last year when people really think about, I mean, the desktop, we're now we moved beyond that phase of the web is dead to thinking about the internet as a underlying platform that has many endpoints, and that there are a lot of people out there whose only experience of computing is through that device or through a tablet device, and they don't fucking need to know what a desktop computer is. And so that's a huge change. So that combined with the tablet. So that's on the hardware side. And the other point on the hardware side, I would say, is all these peripheral devices, right? So you're seeing this incredible wave of innovation that's taking place in small, single-purpose utility devices. So you've got this hub and spoke environment that's taking place off these smart devices. And all those things, you can see the hardware layer coming in, and you can also see software.
Mark Andreessen famously said that everything now is software, and yet in your review of 2012, you began with hardware. What about on the software side?
Well, I think on the software side, we've seen huge shifts take place, right? So we obviously seen Facebook IPO, and we've seen Facebook run towards monetization, but also Facebook run towards mobile, right? So coming into 2012, Facebook fundamentally was not a mobile company. I think coming out of 2012, they have a good shot of being a mobile company. Right, so their mobile products, the iOS product, huge upgrade to that. A lot of emphasis internally on mobile for Facebook, and then the Instagram acquisition, which was almost defensive in nature, but now is beginning to, as you get into 2012 and 2013, really looks offensive, and I think helps them form a platform that is fundamentally mobile and mobile first, which they didn't have coming into the beginning of the year.
So the critical event perhaps for Facebook in 2012 wasn't the IPO, it's the shift to mobile and the Instagram acquisition.
I think the IPO is a detail, right? It's who's buying and who's selling my stock today, and that's a detail. And I think the bankers did a whole bunch of things there which probably didn't serve the company.
How has 2012 been for Google? Good year?
I think it's been an okay year for Google. I mean, I think that you could see the tremendous power that platform still has, and all the endpoints that they have when it touches everything from search to Android to what they could do on TV. Google Plus to me is still a big question mark. I mean, there's
not only you.
Yeah, it's from the beginning I've wondered exactly how it fits into the puzzle, and to me it's still not apparent.
You're a keen watcher and a keen user of Twitter.
Yeah.
What kind of year has it been for Twitter?
Love Twitter. I think it's been an okay year for Twitter. I think that the shifts that have taken place in the platform, the ecosystem, were things that Twitter's talked about for the last couple of years. So, in a sense, I was almost relieved that they finally had moved on that, because there was talk, but there wasn't. They hadn't made the changes. In 2012, they made the changes, and they're really trying to focus the experience back to Twitter.com and Twitter-owned and operated services, be they clients or be they the website. I think I say okay because I still don't see them as a great client company. I still don't see a great web client there. I don't see a great iOS client, and I'm hoping that they can start to build really wonderful clients at Twitter, because if they're not going to let third parties build them, then I hope they can, because the platform and the underlying architecture of Twitter, I think, is as revolutionary as ever. But I think that they've actually, they're in a transitional period now where they have to demonstrate they can actually build great products that people want to use versus people wanting to use Tweetbot, which is what I still use. Sure. And then the monetization piece, which is still emerging.
So 2013 is fast approaching, John. You have to be really brief here.
Yeah.
Tech event of the year, 2012.
Tech event of the year. I think the Instagram deal. So number one, because it underlines the importance of mobile. Number two is because it shows how quickly a massive platform like Facebook is suddenly defensive and thrown on its heels. So it's illustrative of that. Number three is that it demonstrates just how fast companies can get to scale in this world, right? We're now living in a world where the platforms are in place that if you can build, and whether it's Instagram or OMG Pop or Clash of Clans or Kickstarter or any of these platforms that are products that are emerging, they're sitting on top of the shoulders of other platforms, and the scale that you can get to is astounding, right? Instagram, when the acquisition was done, about 27 million members. Only a short while ago, they passed 100 million. I mean, it's amazing how fast you can get to scale now.
You had no money in Instagram?
No money in Instagram.
Did you ever have the chance to invest?
No. we never met the Instagram team. They're a West Coast company. We never met them in their first iteration and so on. I mean, I love what they do, but 3 reasons why I think that they're illustrative of why they, for me, they're the sort of the beacon of 2012.
Well, beacon of 2012, John Borthwick, thank you so much.